Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pregame Network podcast. This is episode 84 of the only gaming news show on the internet that's not afraid to offend anybody. And if you've listened to our recent episodes, definitely you would know that. I am your gracious host, Dan, joined by my bestest pal, Anthony. And we're here to talk about, firstly, recap the Game Awards and then whatever news we may have stumbled over. I suspect that a lot of the news that I have will directly be related to the awards. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
Okay.
So as per usual, I guess we'll just go over what we've been playing and then just get right into it. My list is not super big this week. Let's see, what does my Steam recently played games say? Just, the normal Finals, Ark, Helldivers, Battlefield. I did start another Satisfactory playthrough because goddamn if that game isn't relaxing and just super satisfying to actually play, hence the name. But beyond that, nothing really out of the ordinary. I have my staples, and like I've bitched before, there is just not enough time to play the games that I want to play, especially because basically all of them are fucking live service, which is good on some occasions, but just really annoying on others. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I turn the mic over to you, and then we will get started.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much in the same boat where not too much different. There is there are two exceptions. The first one I'm not really going to get to until the end of the year or like the first recording session out of it because it's going to take a while for me to really do what I'm doing there. But the other thing is me, Harrison, my brothers went back and we played a little bit of Marvel Rivals just to, check in, play it. We hadn't played game. Yeah, we hadn't played since I want to say the spring because we definitely missed the summer events. And it's something that is like, we never like really hated it, never really, it was always a good game in our eyes. It's just Luke and Harrison took it a little too far. Everybody got burnt out, so we put it down for a while. And we kind of just got back into the swing of things, I guess you could say. Still very entertaining, still very fun. A lot of the new heroes are really cool, really entertaining. I was playing a lot of Gambit and Rogue, who just got added. Still, it's nice for me because there's not a lot of games where I get to heal. I love healing. I find that fun. So it was nice to, have a game where I could heal. It's kind of why in Arc Raiders I'm running around with bandages trying to patch people up. It's just something I like doing. But that's
surprised you don't play more of a support role in Finals.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's my desire for destruction outweighs my desire to heal others, and I can't. If there was a way for me to have a healing beam and like the charge at the same time, maybe. But like I don't know. So because while that game does have light like class-based elements, it's not really the same as like a hero shooter or a full-on class-based game. They're just light elements that are laid over it to kind of, I don't want to say spec in because that makes it seem too rigid. Obviously we've talked a ton about the Finals, but it really is at its core an arena shooter with light variants based on like things like you would see in classes and class-based games, but it's not really there, Maybe that's another part of it. That's why healing doesn't really feel as strong or satisfying, I guess. But that's been the week.
Yeah, pretty average, I would say, for both of us.
Yeah.
So all right, I guess we'll just get right into it. I have a ton of notes for the Game Awards. I know you do too.
Yeah, so, you said it, everybody knows it, we've talked about it. The Game Awards happened, right?
Indeed.
And I don't want to do a play-by-play of everything where we, like, run down and describe literally everything that happened there. So I figure we'll just talk about the awards in general, like who the winners and whatnot, and then we'll rapid-fire the announcements and only stop where we have something to say. That works for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. So the awards proper, what is there to say, Dan? Expedition
33 literally set the Game Awards record. Yeah, it's completely sweep.
Yeah,
and to be fair, like first of all, I knew it was going to win Game of the Year. Like I was just kind of an obvious fact, but I was not expecting it to basically win virtually every category that it was nominated for. And the only thing that it didn't win was best sound design, and then best community engagement, something like that. Best community support. Baldur's Gate won that one. But pretty much everything else, it just complete and utter dominance. I have never seen anything like that before, because it's never happened before.
I'm pretty sure the only awards it didn't win that it was also nominated for was best audio design and best what is it called? Art direction. No, wait, it won art direction. Never mind.
It won art direction.
It did win art direction.
It won Game of the Year, Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, Best Music and Score, Best Performance, Best Indie Game, Best Debut Indie Game, and Best RPG. So
and technically,
it just, whew, wow.
It sweeped like every wild card, and like, okay, it can't win everything, so it's going to give an award to something that I put out there as the reason they could get ripped off in any category.
Nope.
It did not come into play in the slightest. I think it happened like once or twice in categories where Expedition 33 wasn't there, like the action category. But I mean, well deserved in my opinion. I did really love the game. I'll have more to say about it at our show, but you know, it deserved recognition. You know,
it's definitely got it.
Yeah, and it's getting recognition in a way that is so impressive that we've officially reached that tipping point where people are saying, oh, now people are just liking it for no reason, because now you have contrarians out and about, because like it basically made the industry kneel because of all like the snubs, like, you know, to kind of branch off from just Expedition 33 winning everything. Death Stranding didn't win anything. Ghosts of Yotei didn't win anything. There a lot of, you know, another indie darling that tried to, you know, court the more mainstream industry in Kingdom Come Deliverance didn't win anything. So I was just shocked. You know, it made the industry kneel basically.
Is that a good or a bad thing in your opinion?
It's an interesting
You're more
thing.
into Expedition 33 than I am.
So it's an interesting thing. Like I said, I do think it deserved a lot of this recognition. You know, it is deserving of everything that it's getting. It's just, you know, there's a threshold you need to beat in order to make the wider industry acknowledge it. And once you reach that point, you also risk, you know, backlash just from contrarians and stuff like that, kind of what I was getting at before. So it's just, it's cemented its place as something that will be talked about years from now, more than just like, you know, people bringing it up every now and again as like a novelty, you know? So that
I didn't know this until after the fact, but after the awards wrapped up and after they won Game of the Year, they dropped like another update or a content update.
So what they added was there's a whole new area, like it's basically another hidden dungeon that you can go to, and it's, you know, some extra story bits in there. Along that is obviously the accompanying music and stuff like that. They added a photo mode. So you can now pause like mid-battle and take cool photos and stuff like that. And they did some fine-tuning to some skills and different bug fixes and stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it was called the Thank You Update.
Something like that. I do think, you know, some people are saying like, oh, this just goes to show the industry is all bullshit. You know, the awards are all bullshit. They knew in advance. I'm like, I'm sure they knew in advance they were going to win some awards, but at the same time, if they managed to win fucking nothing at this, you would probably just have like a thank you update anyway, because the game did sell 5 million copies.
Yeah.
And every couple million, they've been doing periodic updates where they just say thank you and they add more content to it or whatever. But yeah. So, you know, enough of the gloating and, you know, the filleting of Expedition 33 for a couple seconds. So I mean, I mentioned already that like Death Stranding 2 didn't win anything, Ghost of Yotei didn't win anything. The one gimme category that I thought Assassin's Creed Shadows was going to win with accessibility,
I knew it. I called it.
It lost to Doom: The Dark Ages.
They basically gave you like an SDK light in that fucking game.
Yeah,
like anything that you wanted to tweak, you could tweak.
I think that's a bit of a stretch, but they did give you some like a very big amount of control. Great deal of control. I was speaking
in a very light hyperbole.
I get you. I'm
glad that it won. I mean, I don't think it. I don't know. I really
I don't have a
enjoyed
problem
Doom: The
with it.
Dark Ages.
Yeah.
I I wanted it to win best action game, but it's really not an action game, So like I can't really be upset about
The
that. But
shooters
one
are
best action
homeless
game.
essentially when it comes to these
Yeah,
categories, just because actions.
yeah. There is no best FPS category
Yeah,
or just shooter category, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
So I
Hades
mean,
2 won best action game. I wrote in my notes,
that's
big ol' eh.
yeah, that's a big ant for me. I know I'm a bit more tilted about that than other people are going to be, just because there were two actual action franchises in there for once, and it lost to this like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I look at Hades 2, I'm not saying it's inherently bad, but I get like Horizon vibes from its popularity, where it's just like it had one game that everybody enjoyed, and the sequel is just kind of meh, but people are pretending to like it or like singing its praises, even though it's not a very exciting game. It's almost like it fell back into a niche where like people who like the first one definitely love this, but like it doesn't have as much appeal as the first one did to other people. So I kind of roll my eyes at it. It's like, okay, because didn't Hades 2 win Game of the Year the year it came out?
No, I don't think so. It
can't
only
even
hit
remember
1.0 this year.
No, I'm sorry. Didn't Hades 1?
Oh.
The original Hades. I misspoke.
Hades 1 came out what?
3 years ago?
4 years ago at this point.
Something like that.
I don't. It might have. I don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Hollow Knight Silksong got a little bit of lip service and action adventure. Your favorite, everybody's favorite Arc Raiders took home best multiplayer. I still
think it's fucking criminal that it didn't even get nominated for best audio design.
It would have.
That is,
Yeah, I mean Battlefield 6 won that, but if Arc Raiders was in that category, it would have. It should have taken.
Criminal, just criminal.
Yeah. News for me. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves did not get snubbed in Best Fighting Game. I was very happy about that. They got some recognition because
I wrote down next to that nomination. I abstained because I know nothing about fighting games.
Yeah. My thing about that is like I think I do like a little fist pump, because it's like these industry awards typically don't like giving awards or acknowledging games from Japan unless it's Kojima, and even then Kojima has hurdles to get over. And also fighting game is just such an overlooked category that like industry people are the ones that like I played Street Fighter 2 when like 50 years ago, 120 years ago when it was in the arcades or whatever. I played Mortal Kombat on the Genesis and I remember blood and it was funny to me or something, and like I'm just like, okay, so just is the Capcom collection gonna win, is the Mortal Kombat Legacy collection gonna win? But no, SNK and Fatal Fury City of the Wolves got some recognition, so good for them. What else, just to skim through this real quick?
I told you that Mario Kart was going to win best sport / racing game.
My opinion on that is that for once Sonic did a better racer, in my opinion. And Sonic is another thing that Jeff's awards just seem to hate, which is why why the movie wasn't up for a nomination in adaptation. Nintendo took home the Nintendo, aka the Family Game Award, with Donkey Kong Bonanza. The nothing category that was Sim and Strategy went to Final Fantasy Tactics, because a watered down remake of a 20-year-old game is better than most of the strategy offerings in these trying times. Something I do want to bring up real quick, and this is just it's not really a big deal. We have best mobile game and best player's voice, right? First, best mobile game, Uma Musume won, and I was stunned, because like I said, that just goes to show the impact that it had that 1 month where everybody was playing it, even normies that wouldn't be into that, right? And then player's voice, a game called Wuthering Waves won, and I described it a little bit, but basically I think in the future there should be 2 player's voice categories going forward. One specifically for live service and gacha, and one for just everything else. Because basically, for the last however many years, player's voice has literally just been a bidding war between gacha games at this point, where in the game it'll say like, hey, we're nominated at the Game Awards. If we win, we'll give you a ton of free shit. And it basically just turns into this war of who has the most rabid fan base or the most mentally ill fan base, and that's typically how that's determined. I'm not saying Wuthering Waves is a bad game. It's not. It's a decent gacha from what I hear. It's not. That's one of the few I haven't tried, but that's just it's foul. It's a foul play kind of thing. I think they should be split up in the future, but that's probably not going to happen. I'll be honest, Dan, most of these other categories I don't have much to say. I don't know if there's another award that you saw or that you had something written in your notes that you wanted to talk about before we move on to just the announcements.
No, not necessarily. Nothing really shocked me. I will say that, just my overall thoughts on the Game Awards this year, I thought it was pretty good. Aside from some cringy moments, I will say that I think that you probably feel a sort of way about this, but the Street Fighter movie, I had no idea they were making that, and the snippets that they did show, I thought it actually looked pretty cool. I am looking forward to that. Also, that cast is completely fucking stacked. So
yeah, it is a stacked cast. My opinion on it is that, like, I look at that and I'm just like, the only one that kind of nailed it with is probably, like, I don't know, the guy playing Zangief, because he looks like he fits the role. He's just this giant beast of a man. I'm just like, okay, perfect. You got the guy who looks like Zangief. Go for it. To comment on the Street Fighter movie, I've been kind of following it for a while because it's been in development hell for like what feels like 12 years at this point, on and off development. And my only comment on it is, like, I don't know, it's going to be a by the numbers adaptation. I think they're going to try a little harder. I saw some of the things and I'm like, hey, that's a move from the game. I get that. I do think that, there's a few names in there, like you have Eric Andre and Eric Schultz, and I think they're just in there because whoever's directing found the characters in the game funny. I think they're miscast. Maybe Eric Andre works for the character he is, but Eric Schultz just shouldn't be in the movie. He doesn't really make sense.
I didn't even know that Eric Andre was in it.
Yeah, he's there's a background character that's basically like an announcer for Balrog, the boxer guy. He's been in the background for a while, and they fleshed him out a bit more in Street Fighter V. And okay, he looks the role. He's supposed to be kind of an idiot, and that's what Eric Andre does. That's like his whole shtick.
I was shocked to see that Andrew Schultz was actually in this.
Yeah, Schultz. He. There's no reason for him to be in this movie. That's my only comment. Is like, yeah, full stop. I mean, I don't think the movie's going to be anything spectacular, but they certainly spent money on actors. I don't know. I was kind of stunned because, like, I thought, I'm like, oh my god, we're going to see the DLC trailer for the character that's coming out in like a couple weeks or whatever, and then the movie thing started, and by the third clip that they showed, I'm like, is this AI generated? Like, I went cross-eyed for a second. I'm like, what am I looking at? But yeah, that's really my only take on that. As far as what the other thing you said, where you're just like, oh, the Game Awards. So I'm kind of with you where I thought the show was good in the sense, and with the hedging my bets, or like the kind of caveat, I should say, where I go like, oh, it was better than what I was expecting, because I'm a cynic, hard asshole.
Yep.
And I'm just like, there were moments where I was tuning out. Can I really say it was that good? But I guess as we go through the announcements, we'll kind of refresh our memories, and we'll go from there. So with that out of the way, let's actually talk about the different announcements. Going back to it, like I said, before. Are
we going to go in order, or are we just jumping around?
So I'm pretty sure I have it in order. We may accidentally jump around, but I'm pretty sure everything's in order when I'm about to go.
All right.
And to kind of go along with what I was saying before, instead of just being a negative Nancy and spending our entire time together hedging my bets and assuming the worst on all these games, I'm going to drop one disclaimer here at the top and then try to ride fully based on emotion and hope, right? So my little disclaimer is, yes, it is entirely possible that one, more, or all of these games will be bad or have some kind of unnecessary baggage added to them. We're just gonna go purely based. Yeah,
that's a given.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, because I don't want to stop every step of the way to just go, yeah, but it could suck. I'm gonna save that for like one or two cases, but other than that, we're just gonna go through that. Right. So I'm pretty sure this is all the pregame stuff. We're not gonna hover in the pregame stuff too long. There's only two things that caught my eye. First, we have Pragmata, which got a trailer, a release date of April 24th, and then a demo which released immediately afterwards that I still have not played.
I actually played it.
What did you think of the Pragmata demo?
It was fine. I mean, it was just another gimmick on a third-person shooter. It's very Capcom in the sense of like big bombastic robots and like imposing creature things like moving slowly towards you. And then the like the little android girl that you carry on your back the entire time. But I mean, it was fine. I didn't feel one way or another about it, to be honest. I could see people getting really quick with the puzzle mechanic and like finding the optimal path that you can route your way through this puzzle before you actually open up the enemy to damage. But I mean, it was fine. I wasn't blown away by any means. I will probably never buy it. It didn't like wow me or anything, but it was fine. I mean, if it goes on sale for a holiday sale one year for like $10 or something, sure. But I'm not spending more than like $20 on that game. It's just not. Yeah. I'm not the demographic.
I gotcha. I'm curious to see next week because by then I will have played the demo, just to see like when I have more things to say about it, because I'm not gonna like point my finger at you and say fuck you, you're wrong. I do disagree with I do disagree with some of your takes on like, oh, it's just more Capcom, because I don't quite see that, but we'll see what happens when I get a chance to play it, because I wouldn't say I've been excited for Pragmata, but I have been very interested in it, which is mainly the main reason I say I'm kind of like weird about this is because their marketing with it has been such dog shit, and I've mentioned it like twice at this point, and I have more to say about that later when we're done talking about the show. But that was a fun little thing for me, is just seeing this game finally get a proper like showing after years of in and out of development hell or wherever the fuck it's been, without any baggage of streamers or other bullshit. It was just a trailer, a demo announcement, and a release date, and it was so refreshing to have that like I think that was like the first or second thing shown, so that was neat to me, right? The only other thing shown at the pregame show that really caught my eyes is other game called Stupid Never Dies, which looks like some kind of zombie action game kind of thing, but it's got like this corny, cheesy, like teenage romance subplot or something. That was too over the top for me. Yeah, I know it's weird. Like it's almost over the top for me. Like I love giving anything a shot, but like this, even for my taste, this looked a little over the top. I'm curious to see more about that. The action looked good. That's really all I have to say, and that's pretty much it for what I believe was the pre-show. Anything I missed so far?
No. So all my notes, all the notes
show
that I wrote
proper.
Down, well, yeah, but they were also for games that I took interest in. So
that's fine. Like I said,
when you list something that I am interested in, I will have a note on it.
Perfect. We're gonna go, and like I said, from here on out, there's no more stipulations. We're just gonna go game, and we're gonna stop whenever we have something to say. Okay, so first things first, Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic.
Right. Okay. So go ahead. You can go first.
So it was shown. It was a cinematic trailer, no gameplay, as these things go. Casey Hudson is coming back to lead the charge on this one. What I have to say, just real quick, is a kind of clarification, because this has been going around for a bit, and then I'll hand the mic over to you because I'm sure you have more things to say. Following its announcement, there was a lot of talk about the launch date not being until 2030, because some hack journalist just kind of like jumped the gun and said so without really listing that it was his own opinion, because journalists, they don't have integrity. That's just how it is. I personally think it's still very possible this takes a while, just the nature of massive games that are announced with vague cinematic trailers. That's just how it is. Following the announcement, Hudson came out. He basically said not to worry or believe the talk around that. He said it will be out before then, but he also said it's in early development. So take that for what you will. I'm thinking no earlier than 2028. That's my guess. But
okay. So
what do you got to say?
As you know, as I've said ad nauseum on the show, I am a huge Star Wars fan. I loved both Knights of the Old Republic games. I was not in love with the turn-based combat, but the story was so good I really did not care that much. I hope that it's not turn-based, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was, considering how successful Expedition 33 was and just the heritage that this game is coming from. Casey Hudson being the game director on this is a huge plus, obviously. Everything that he's done, I have loved. And as far as the release date goes, I personally think we're not going to see this until like 2029. I think it's way a ways out.
So you're gonna push him to the absolute limits of his word at 2029.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is going to be like an Elder Scrolls 6 or 5, whatever the fuck they're up to.
6.
I'm not an Elder Scrolls fan, but it's going to be an Elder Scrolls 6 situation. We got this super cool cinematic with the title card, and then we're not going to see this game again for like another 3 years, and then it will get a release date that's like another 2 years out from that. We're not going to see this game for a very long time. So that's my whole opinion on it. They didn't really give us a whole lot to go off of. So we'll see. But I do hope that the combat is more like hack and slashy instead of turn-based. That's my only hope.
Well,
like I can wait as long as they want to take. Like, I'm not really concerned about the time frame that's going to come out. And the only issue that I take with that is the fact that like they showed this trailer and then absolutely no hint of even like a window. And
yeah,
I mean, I can't stand when companies do that shit. Like, yeah, just to build hype and to build like market share or stocks or whatever the fuck.
We're in that field where it's like big trailers with distant release dates are just kind of like everybody's kind of sick of them. I think we talked about that last week where I think Todd Howard was the guy who said like he wants to see more shadow drops in the industry, like no more like announcing things way in advance when you're not going to see or hear about them for a long time. It's just I think we're all kind of over that, Yep.
But that's all I got for Fate of the Old Republic or FOTOR.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say to that is I do think it's possible you're going to see gameplay that's a little more action centric. I do think it's still going to keep to its core roots to a certain degree. Even though obviously this is not a BioWare game, I'm making the comparison purely so that what you can expect is think of the changes that Mass Effect and Dragon Age went going from the first game to the second. And that's probably the extent of what you can expect as far as gameplay changes and modifications. Yeah,
you're probably right. We'll see, but I'm not gonna know until like fucking 5 years from now, so it's fine.
Listen, I obviously have my gripes with the industry. I think it's gonna be shorter than that. I don't think it's gonna be quite to the extent of his word if you take him at his word. But we'll see what happens. Next up, we had a little game called For Loop. If you have anything to say about it, go ahead. I checked out immediately for 3 reasons. I heard J.J. Abrams, roguelike, and from the creators of Left 4 Dead. And all three of those things are taglines that lead to tragedy in this industry because the creators of Left 4 Dead, they're called Valve. They are not working on anything related to Left 4 Dead at the moment, outside of maybe a hidden Left 4 Dead 3. Stop putting that tagline on everything. You just disappoint people, and at this point, it's probably a detriment to your brand.
For Loop, to me, looked very fucking weird. I don't really know what they were selling there. Like, obviously it's a roguelite, but like I don't know what the game is, like it kind of looked like a third-person shooter,
survival shooter, roguelike. That's all we know about it, really.
I don't know. I'm less than overwhelmed. So again, like you said, J.J. Abrams, automatically I'm just like they say the creator of Left 4 Dead, okay, that's cool, but at the same time, Back 4 Blood was not good. Evolve died a painful death.
And there's like 2 other games like that, either in development or that just came out and are also the same exact.
Like I have my Horde shooter already, and it's called Dark Tide, and it's fantastic. So I don't know. It looked weird. Like I'll watch a gameplay overview when they come out with one, but I do not have high hopes for that game.
None of those things instill hope. All right, this one you probably have not much to say on. It was called Coven of the Chickenfoot, and it's just a cute little game about an old lady and a monster. Kind of reminded me of The Last Guardian. Nothing to say on that one. Yeah, I'm sure you did. We have Ontos, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is just more psychological horror crap from the guys that made Soma, because survival horror just cannot escape this fucking tumor of a subgenre. And people loved Soma, so this was a big deal for some people. I couldn't. I just don't care. It's
It's not my genre, so
Yep.
I was out.
Yep. Next up, Resident Evil Requiem. So,
Oh boy, I know you
this
got
game,
something to say.
yeah, this game is coming out. We're getting closer and closer, and they finally revealed the second playable character.
Oh boy.
Leon is back in his first mainline entry since Resident Evil 6, even though he's been helming the remake games, obviously. And there's a lot to say about some of the interviews that followed, but it was just really cool to see him in action. My first question when I saw this is just like, okay, so they spent however many months saying, oh, it's going to be spooky. The main character, Grace, she's going to be afraid. So by extension, you're going to be afraid. And that's the tagline all the marketers were using and all the creators that pretend they're not marketers were using. And I'm just like, okay, so they're really harping on that. They're harping on the fact that you can go first person and third person, blah, 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 blah. And then Leon shows up, and they would later go on to say that Leon's segments in the game are meant to be kind of breaks from the really intense horror stuff that they have planned, right? And it certainly looks like it. It looks like a blend of Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil 6. And when I say Resident Evil 6, I don't mean like purely like run and gun like Resident Evil 6 was, because that's a very, very action-oriented game. I mean, some of the melee moves and counters he was doing were very Resident Evil 6. Like his iconic roundhouse kick, they didn't use the Resident Evil 4 version. They didn't use the Resident Evil Remake version. They used the Resident Evil 6 version. And I'm just like, something in my brain, it takes, I'm just like, that's weird that they use that version or whatever. But I was curious to know if it's like, oh, does he have his own campaign and Grace has her own campaign? No, they're doing, and I don't know about this one, they're doing it where it's like split, where you play as Grace for a little bit, then you play as Leon for a little bit, and I just gotta say,
I was confused about that. I thought it was going to be two separate campaigns.
Yeah, so they announced it after the fact that it's one single campaign that you play, and I just gotta say, that is probably the most worrying thing I've heard about Resident Evil so far. Not because I think it automatically makes it awful, but and you wouldn't necessarily know this because you haven't played all of the Resident Evil games, but they tried that in small amounts in Village, and it like worked as like a one-off thing. And they also tried it in Resident Evil Revelations, that 3DS game that later got ported, and it really, really messed with the pacing. So unless they learned something in all those years, I think that's actually going to hurt the game quite a bit, because the thing about Resident Evil games, the best of them have really good pacing and really good aspects of travel and exploration, which immediately gets broken up and segmented when you have a story that's told where you switch between two characters. And it's honestly the first thing I've heard about this game that had me worried a little bit, you know. So
yeah.
So it's cool to see Leon again. He's definitely belongs in this game, given the subject matter of them going back to, you know, hidden secrets about the Raccoon City incident and all that. And the crowd was going fucking nuts. They love Leon too, especially with his recent popularity bump from the remake games. So it was just, you know, it was a nice little trailer. I don't know if you have any comments on that.
I mean, it's not. I was into Resident Evil when it was more action oriented. Like the really hardcore horror stuff is not my thing, as you know. When I was under the impression that it was two different campaigns, I thought to myself, I'm only gonna play the Leon campaign, because I just I can't, my heart can't handle the horror shit. But if it's gonna be one, I don't know.
That might be tough for you.
Yeah, it's not really my thing. Like I own Resident Evil Village and RE8, I think, on Steam.
Village is 8, 7 is Biohazard.
Right. Okay. So I own both those on Steam. Still have not touched them. But yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else to say on that front, really.
That's fair.
Resident Evil's more your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I do love me some Resident Evil, and I'm not entirely out, but I'm worried. We gotta see more about this. Unfortunately, the thing about this that, you know, that sucks is that you can't really judge pacing from a trailer and a write-up on how the game's broken up. So that's really something I'm only going to find out when I sit down and play it via purchase or, you know, other means, you know, when something's changed hands at the very least. But we'll see what happens there. It's only like 2 months away, so we'll see.
Yeah.
After that, we have Order of the Sinking Stars. I don't have anything to say about this except for the fact that it's by Jonathan Blow, the guy who did Braid, and I find that very funny because he basically did Braid, did a handful of experiments, did The Witness like almost 10 years ago, and then basically spent however long after that complaining about the industry and complaining that Braid Remastered didn't make any money. So I find it funny that he's still in the game. I know he's cooking up some crazy like magnum opus game that he's going to spend like 20 years working on. His words, not mine. Which power to him. I just find his position on everything is weird. The only thing I agree with him on is he hates live service. I'm like, I kind of see that depending on your position. But yeah, so it was just interesting to see Jonathan Blow show up at all, you know.
Okay.
I'm sure you
I didn't write anything down for this game.
Yeah. After that, we had back-to-back. We had Exodus and Warlock, 2 different games. I tuned out for both of them. I don't know if you have anything to say about either of those. Yeah, I know. I know we talked a lot about Exodus. I just the trailer did not hook me at all. I'm not like, oh fuck this game. The trailer just went right over me.
All right. Well, Warlock, is just like a very cookie cutter cinematic trailer. Both games are from Wizards of the Coast, so there's that. Exodus, I mean, I've gone on and on about this game in previous episodes. I'm pretty sure didn't they say it's launching early 2027? So it's still got like a whole year to wait.
Yeah.
But look, just knowing who is attached to this game, and the type of story that they are weaving and like the game that they're creating, whether the trailer was good or bad, like Exodus is probably my most anticipated game of 2027. I'm very excited for this game, and Drew Capershin is writing the story. Matthew McConaughey is the narrator, which is like so crazy in its own right. But I mean, the game it looks like a more tight and refined version of Mass Effect 3. That is also prettier. That's what it looks like. I know nothing about the story other than the fact that like, oh, you play as this main character that can harness celestial tech, and like because of that, you're going to save the whole human race. That's all I know. But knowing Drew Capershin, and I've read several books by him, including playing the whole Mass Effect trilogy. Obviously, he's a very good writer. Like he knows how to tell a good story. I'm looking forward to this game. So that's all I got.
All right. Now here's another one you'll have more to say on than me. Right after that, we have Control Resonant. I'm just going to hand the mic over to you. You seem to have a lot to say. I don't have much, but I will comment where applicable.
So Control. I mean, it was a fine game. The game itself had a couple different issues that kind of took away from the overall package for me, to the point where like I couldn't be bothered with a second playthrough. Control Resonant, this game looks like the game that Remedy wanted to make all along, but either didn't have the means or the time or whatever, funding, like whatever have you. Control Resonant, I think it looks pretty cool. You're playing as Dylan Faden, Jesse Faden's brother, who was the protagonist of the first game. This is apparently a direct sequel. I only completed Control from start to finish one time, so I really couldn't give you a great synopsis of the story. But it looks cool to me. I'm probably going to play it when it comes out. And yeah, I mean, that's really about it.
So, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by the action gameplay I saw. I'm just like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. That looks more engaging. I do disagree with you slightly in that you say that you think it's the game that Remedy always wanted to make. I think that's a very idealistic way of looking at it. I think they're just trying something different. I think they're most comfortable in third-person shooters. I guess we'll learn more about the development as it goes on, but I will say that this did interest me more than Control. Just because
it looks better than Control, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks more interesting to me from a gameplay perspective, and while I don't think the environments are all that like appealing to the eyes, and I don't mean like, oh, everything needs to look awesome and vibrant or whatever. I just mean like everything just looked like mush. Like it's hard for me to recall the trailer. Like I see just grays and shadows duking it out and whatnot, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of that.
And there's not, if that's the style, that's the style. I'm just saying that's what I noticed. But it is interesting to see them. Like I was like, it's more Control. Even I could recognize Control when the trailer was starting up, and then it's like, oh, action. What the hell is this? So we'll see what happens.
One thing I think you didn't mention from the pre-show that I was actually interested in
Oh, yeah, go for it.
was Audio Mech.
Okay, yeah. So, is that the Audio Surf guys?
Yeah, so
Okay.
this came out of complete left field for me, and it's definitely more it's a bullet hell game. Audio Surf was I, I don't even know how you would describe it. I mean, yeah, it's a rhythm game, but it's also like a weird type of platformer, not really a platformer, but like a side-scrolling thing.
Hmm.
It's hard to quantify, but the whole point of Audio Surf was that you take your own music, you tell Audio Surf, like the program, to look at this folder. This is all the MP3 files that I have, and then it'll take the file, analyze it, and then make the level based off of the way that the song is. I guess I don't know how they do it, but Audio Mech is the same principle, but in a very different package. You can everything goes according to your own music, and they said that they are also implementing anything that you have that you stream, like YouTube Music or Spotify or whatever. That is also applicable, which I think is great. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, uh, you really can't have a game like that in today's market without supporting those streaming services. Because I mean, I'm sure you still download like local music, but I mean, I stream. The vast majority of people have a streaming service. So it's cool to see them do something in like the rhythm genre that is very different. So I don't know. I just thought it was worth mentioning. I loved
Okay.
Audio Surf.
Oh,
I put a bunch of time into it. Audio Mech looks just as cool, so I'm definitely gonna give that a shot when it comes
there you
out.
go. That's a good one. Yeah, go for it. So after Control Resonant, we had Gang of Dragon. Now,
Right.
this is by Toshihiro Nagoshi, and his studio, Nagoshi Studio. He's the Yakuza guy. He did the
Yeah, I
original
know.
Yakuza.
Yeah.
You know that, and I'm sure if you watch the trailer, you kind of like, even just having a cursory knowledge of Yakuza, you probably said this kind of looks like Yakuza, right?
Yeah. Actually, my exact wording, because I wrote something down for this game too. I wrote to myself that it actually looks pretty damn cool. If it's not turn-based, I'll try it.
Okay. So, as far as the only reason I bring that up is because if you know Yakuza, there's a lot of shots, angles, the way certain locations are created and the way they're framed that makes you immediately go, wow, he just really loves this kind of locale because he did the exact same thing in Yakuza. I jokingly said it looks like Yakuza mixed with The Sopranos just because they got this giant beast of a man to play the main character, and he just looks like this large crime boss guy that likes to hit people, and I'm just like, that's funny. Now, to me, it looks like Japanese Grand Theft Auto, and the reason I say that and the reason I find that funny is because that's what everyone who never played Yakuza games called Yakuza. Because Yakuza is more of like if you took a beat 'em up and made it like a 3D game with an open world. That's what Yakuza is. It's more of an action game. This one has car customization. It's got a larger world. It's got more weapons. The guy looks like he's willing to kill. The protagonist of the other game was more just like beat the crap out of you, almost like a Batman thing going on. He didn't like killing, or he didn't kill that often. I know some people are out there waiting with the attacks that very clearly kill people and the kill count in the game, but it looks like Japanese Grand Theft Auto. After years of Yakuza being memed as the Japanese Grand Theft Auto, the Yakuza guy, after leaving Sega, is now making Japanese Grand Theft Auto, and it looks really, really, really cool to me. And this is actually interesting because, in my eyes, Yakuza is pretty much on its deathbed. Mainly because Sega lost a lot of the original team, and you actually mentioned, if it's not turn-based, I'll play it. The turn-based thing is like a new thing for the series, and I have no idea why the fuck they're doing it. 7, 8, and I think the new pirate game that they did, the pirate spin-off, might be turn-based. I'm not entirely certain. I don't think it is. These new games are turn-based. I don't know why, when everybody wants it for the action game. And now you have that same Yakuza studio doing this other game, Stranger Than Heaven, which I think looks really cool. And now we have the original guy doing his own thing, which looks really cool. So as somebody who was sad to see what's happened to the Yakuza games happen to the Yakuza games, I'm very pleased with this development. So,
all right, cool.
I don't know if you
it looked really cool to me.
Yeah.
I like the tone of it.
Yes.
And just the fact that, again, like it's this really giant dude that's running around beating the shit out of people.
Yeah.
That was also cool.
Yeah. No, it looks really cool.
And it looked like very like gritty. So I dug
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So if depending on the gameplay, I will definitely give it a try.
Yeah, I do think it'll be more palatable to you than the original Yakuza games, which are good and you probably enjoy, and the newer Yakuza games, which are turn-based. I think this game, based on everything I know, is leaning towards something that you would probably enjoy more of. But we'll see what happens.
Cool.
All right, so here's a big one. After Gang of Dragon, we had Divinity.
Yes.
So
that's Larian's new game. It's
Yes.
not Divinity Original Sin. It's a different thing entirely, right?
Is it? Did we get confirmation of that?
I'm pretty sure. I'm like
I know that-
95% sure.
It wouldn't surprise. I mean, the trailer just said Divinity, and I haven't looked into it because I don't have anything against Divinity Original Sin. I have my gripes with Baldur's Gate 3 mainly because while I do think Baldur's Gate 3 has a lot of quality elements about it, it's less Baldur's Gate and more like Divinity Original Sin 3 with Baldur's Gate elements. That's just just me poking like holes in it or whatever. I've been a part of 4 Divinity Original Sin 2 playthroughs that have fallen apart because people just can't stick to a schedule or want to play with it. But I don't have a problem with the games. It's another cinematic trailer, so I don't really have too much to say on it, and I don't know much about it. My only comments right now is that I'm curious to see what happens with the game in the studio, because Larian right now, they're basically where CD Projekt Red was before Cyberpunk 2077 came out. They are in that perfect, like, they can do no wrong, they're everybody's darling. So I'm curious to see what happens next. So that's my only take on it.
Yeah. I mean, the cinematic trailer was cool, but I know nothing about it, so it was just eye candy to me. Like, I don't know anything about this game.
The only thing I have to say, and we'll talk more about this later, just because it's like you had a couple pearl clutchers out there where they're just like, oh, look at the debauchery in the trailer. I'm just like, it's much
Not
like
real.
much like I hate all the bullshit on the other side that are like attacking normalcy. I hate the pearl clutching on the other side, which is just like, oh, these subject matters, they're just God. I can't, I can't stand either of these idiots, and I can't stand the idiots that are preemptively waiting for either of these idiots. But more on that later. This is about the game now. Humorously, we're going to immediately start talking about a game that also had some of that going on around it. But after Divinity whatever, because we don't know what's going on with it, we had Tomb Raider. Double threat.
Yes.
We had the new game, Catalyst, which is the long-rumored and often leaked one set in India. And as I'm sitting there watching the trailer, it was spoiled for me. I kind of knew the remake was coming after it. But I'm sitting there, I hear a character mention Atlantis. And that got me excited, Dan, because have you played the Tomb Raider games?
I played the original very, very briefly. Not enough to remember
Not
it.
enough to know it or remember it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I was excited when I heard Atlantis is because that's like the last locale of the first game is you go to Atlantis. And I'm like, holy fuck, we're done with the reboot games. We're going back to the core timeline. And while that has its own issues, I was just like, after years of the game being in the reboot hell that it was, and on the tail end of this dog shit Amazon show, the brand looks like it's inching back to what it was originally about.
So
and I was like,
it's funny that you say that, because I took notes for Tomb Raider as well.
Yeah.
And this is what I wrote. I wrote that it looks like what I've wanted for Tomb Raider from the Tomb Raider IP for a long, long time.
Yes.
High octane action, crazy amount of tombs to explore, an actual Tomb Raider game.
Yes.
I said that I also enjoyed the previous Crystal Dynamic titles, but they were very different. They were very different flavor of game. This looks much more appealing to me overall. It looks like what Tomb Raider is supposed to be, not like this weird survival action like crafting
open
thing.
world, Uncharted, Last of Us blend thing.
Yeah, this looks way, way better. And I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So I was really pleased with the Legacy of Atlantis trailer.
Exactly. Yeah. So we had the Catalyst trailer, which led into the Legacy of Atlantis, which it's being described as a reimagining, and I always get a little worried when I hear that, because that's how you end up with a fucking, not this means anything to you, like a Silent Hill Shattered Memories. It's a reimagining of the first Silent Hill on that. That was dog shit. But I always get worried about that. My understanding is that one of the creators, one of the original creators, says he's not impressed with what he sees so far, and there's a lot of discussion around it. I just think we haven't seen enough yet. And the thing is, like, while I'm giving it praise for going back to, you know, like you just got done saying, like, what we expected from Tomb Raider years ago, and this is both gameplay and design wise, I'm gonna acknowledge it's not there yet, at least from the showing that we've seen so far. There's a good prospect. The seeds are planted. Now we just need to see them sprout into something wonderful. I forget the order. What is it? Catalyst is coming out first, or is the
Legacy of Atlantis is 2026. Catalyst is 2027.
Okay, that's what I thought. And it's been confirmed since that. Obviously, the remake's the remake, the reimagining, whatever. But Catalyst does take place it's picking up where Underworld left off, I think. Okay. So we're back in the core timeline, and I just gotta say, we're gonna take a brief break before we get back to the Game Awards, because after this I do gloss over quite a few of the trailers. I touched on it a little bit with Divinity, but there's already so much stupid arguing around Tomb Raider. It's like, you know, you already have people saying that the new look for the game is jarring, when they really mean is, yeah. Because you have people that liked kind of the watered down elements that have been delivered in the Netflix show and in the reboot, right? They think that, you know, that it inched too close to the original design, which they don't like, and that position is fucking stupid.
That is fucking stupid. And
on the flip side, you have people who are already saying, like, oh, you know, the game looks like shit, Laura's ugly, and they're doing that because, and they're saying that because here's the thing. I'll give them a little bit of credit because we're not fully back in the land of wonder. The game's not out and not everything is 1-to-1. But it's like, I look at this and I go, like, you know, I'm not the kind of guy that sits there and goes, you know, they moved a little bit in the direction I like, so that means everything's good, right? I'm not like that. I am just grateful, stunned, and wish to see more of them inching towards the original Tomb Raider formula and designs. It's definitely not perfect. I do think the game visually could look a little bit better. I think the designs could be a little bit more faithful, but the fact that they are actually seemingly ditching, like, copying Uncharted and The Last of Us for trying the original formula with things that look like they belong in the original Tomb Raider. I'm not saying I'm going to go lay down money and pre-order the game now, but I am cautiously optimistic that, like, this is a step in the right direction. And if it ends up not being that way, I'll just, you know, the seas, they call me. I'll go on there and then I'll whinge about it on the internet like fucking everybody else. But, like, the people saying that going back to the original is icky or stupid or dumb, you're retarded. And the people who are writing it off because Lara doesn't look perfect but looks closer to what she did originally, hold your horses, please, for the love of God. If the developers are being insufferable, if they're going to make unnecessary changes, you will hear about it way before the game comes out. So just wait, please. And then you have people, my favorite people, who just like to complain about the complainers, who are already saying, like, oh, I bet people are gonna say that Laura looks like a man or something. And I'm just like, who the fuck are you? Shut the fuck up. It's just so weird to me that we have these preemptive non-arguments about non-arguing, and it's just annoying. And that, of course, crops up with Tomb Raider because that franchise has been whipped the last decade or so. So overall, for me, I think it's a step in the right direction. Is it going to be perfect? We don't know. Probably not. But I'm with you on the train of, like, this is the kind of the thing I wanted to see them trying. It's like, just pretend the reboot never happened. Not dismissing the reboots completely. I'm just saying I expected
it's also
something
being
like
published
Catalyst.
by Amazon Game Studios, which might be their biggest game so far.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens if they're willing to cheap out or not, because these companies sometimes they see games as an afterthought or just like a way to wedge in. But we'll see what happens. Overall, I'm willing to see more. I want to see more of both of these games and see how they look, and I will keep going until they disappoint me or blow me away. All right.
So that's Tomb Raider. What else is next?
I'm gonna rapid fire these 5. You stop me if I'm gonna say the name. I'm gonna go to you, and then you tell me if we're stopping or not. All right? Because
Okay.
I glossed over these next couple. Forest 3,
Nope.
Orbitals.
Orbitals? No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't run anything after that.
I personally think it looks neat, but it's a Switch exclusive, so it might be dead on arrival because it's a new IP on the Switch. I don't think it's gonna work well.
Okay.
Diablo 4 expansion, Lord of Hatred.
It looked cool. I mean, it was just cinematic. They didn't show any gameplay, but I think tonally it looked like how Diablo should look. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back to the game, even though I do own it. But I mean, I have no fucking idea. But it was more Diablo.
Yeah. 007 First Light.
It literally looks like Uncharted with a James Bond coat of paint, and I wrote down that it could go either way. So we'll see what happens. That is all I really know so far.
All right. And then Soros.
I spent a little bit of time in Returnal. This just looks like that, but bigger, which if you're into that, cool. I can only do the roguelites for so long before I just get bored.
I will give them credit for giving us like an actual look at the game instead of just, you know, a guy staring at a dying sun and then cutting to black and then, okay, we'll see you next year. You know, so there's that. So after that, we had No Law. Now, this looked... Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is I don't remember everything about the trailer because I was just coming out of the stupor that the last 5 games put me in. I have not looked up anything about the game afterwards. I am intrigued by this because I feel like we don't get. I feel like the gameplay looked interesting. The tone and style looked interesting. I think the protagonist. I think we need more just like burly, badass people willing to beat the shit out of people. So like I see the protagonist, I'm just like, this guy looks cool. I want to play as this guy. And overall, it doesn't look like it's taking itself too seriously either, which is what a lot of these games fall into. So I'm intrigued.
There was a shot in the cinematic trailer where it was this gigantic dude with like a cross-drawn holster on, and he was just holding an ice cream cone. Like, I don't know why. He was holding a soft serve vanilla ice cream cone. That's what stuck out to me. I was like, all right, I can get behind that. I fucking love me some Mr. Softy.
There you go. That's where you got 10. But all I have to... I said my piece. What do you think about the game?
So, do you know who Neon Giant is?
Sounds familiar.
So, they made The Ascent a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Is this the same guys?
So... Yeah, same guys. Okay. So everyone thought they were going to make an Ascent 2 because that game was actually really, really good for a twin stick shooter. But I guess they're making this instead. Now, I did write down a couple things. The trailer, to me, I thought it looked good. It did kind of look like a budget Cyberpunk 2077. And I also put that depending on how they focus the gameplay and what it actually is, it looks just like a good time. The Ascent was really good, and I am a sucker for that setting. So I have high hopes for this game. I would like to see more, but it's a smaller... Neon Giant's a smaller team, so I don't think there's a lot of room for bullshit with teams like that. But I thought it looked cool. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it.
Okay. Yeah. No.
And they marketed it as a first-person shooter more so than an RPG, which is also points for me.
Okay. Yeah. And you don't necessarily need all the bloat all the time, you know?
Yep. All
right. After that, we have Total War Warhammer 40K, which was a surprise for me.
Oh yeah.
You once again, you probably have more to say on this than I do, but
yeah. Well,
I just gotta say, I find this very funny. This is the only game Sega had any involvement in this entire lineup, and I say this is funny because like a week ago, Sega retweeted the Game Awards and said, "Tune in, you're not going to want to miss this." And I'm pretty sure they deleted the tweet. So this is their only showing. So go ahead, tell me about Sega's Total War Warhammer 40K.
Well, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to tell. The game looks like it's going to be absolutely huge, which is a good thing because there's so much 40K lore. Like, oh my god, you could never know all of it. Yeah. Just the Warhammer 40K brand overall is doing so well recently. And between Total War and Dawn of War 4, the Emperor does in fact provide, my friend. 2 different RTS games that each have their own cult following. And I mean, Total War is a gigantic IP. Dawn of War was a beloved one years ago, and now they're both getting new entries. I don't know when they're coming out, either of them, but I know that Dawn of War 4 is only on PC as of right now. I'm pretty sure Total War is going to be on both PC and console with crossplay, but I definitely want to check that out. But it looks great. It looks really, really cool. This is exactly what 40K fans have been wanting from that franchise like forever. So I'm happy with that. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
It reminds me, for some reason, whenever I think of Total War, I remember back when we worked at Best Buy, I had a customer once. I was showing him laptops, and like the one thing he wanted to know every time we stopped at the laptop, he would just ask, "Is this gonna run Total War Rome 2 or something that degree?" I'm just like, yes, this computer will run it, and it just they're very insistent on making sure that the one game he played ran on any of the laptops. That was his only. That's the first thing that comes to mind whenever I think of Total War. Now,
so
after Total War,
Ace Combat. We didn't even touch on Ace Combat. Shame on you.
Yeah, no, because we're going in order. We're getting there. It's right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they that came out before. My bad.
Maybe I got it slightly out of order, but it's the next one on my list here.
Okay, sorry.
Ace Combat 8. Dan, this may surprise you. I don't have much to say on this.
What? Really?
Yeah, because all I have is raw excitement.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I wrote that, so I put down Ace Combat - happy for you, bud. That's all I put down.
I was like, this is the kind of shadow drop stuff that I like to see. It's like, Namco wasn't teasing anything. It just kind of happened. And man, I love the Ace Combat games. I don't know how else to say them, how else to say it really outside of that. I love these games, and it looks really cool. The trope for this one, because basically each game tries to, obviously there's a story hook in all games, but it's like 1, 2, and 3 were kind of doing their own. One and 2 were doing their own thing. 3 is different depending on what region you played in. 4 is like you're this ace among aces, which basically is just like a legend, but you're playing as him and you see the war below you. 5 is like this whole intercontinental conflict. So is 6. 7, you're like a convict working his way through the ranks after being framed. The hook for this one is apparently you're a new guy. You get partnered up with like the biggest ace of the side of the conflict that you're on, and like he's like a legend. He brings everybody hope, and he dies pretty much immediately after the first mission with you, and you're basically just pretending to be him and filling his shoes. God. I'm just like, that's a good enough hook for me. Now all you need to do is make the music awesome, and everything else is wonderful. I cannot stress enough. Ace Combat games are fucking awesome. I love them so much. 5 is my 11th favorite game of all time. 3, 4, 7, and even 6 are all really phenomenal games. I even like 1 and 2, even though 1 is kind of like But yeah, very, very exciting. I like I said, I don't have much to say just because I'm just really excited for it. So we'll see what happens. Reminder for everyone to go play the Holy Trilogy, the 4, 5, and 0 on PlayStation 2. Next up, we have Star Wars Galactic Racer. I really don't have anything to say about this. I have, Really? Nothing from you either?
I just... Racing games are, very niche. And, I mean, it's Star Wars, but... I don't know. It would really have to blow my socks off for me to really be excited for something like that.
I guess. I mean, my whole thing is like, obviously, if you like the Podcast Racer from way back when.
Podcast Racer?
What was it? Oh, I'm sorry, Pod Racer. Jesus Christ! Thanks for stopping me. Oh my God. Yes, Pod Racer, the Pod Racer game that everybody loved, the one in the arcade, and then the ports to the consoles. I think this is meant to appeal to them. Again, I don't see too much in there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be really cool. They could do like really bombastic, over the top stuff. Like if you like mess up or something and you ram into like a mountain or whatever, and like you just go up in this big fireball. That could be cool. If they kind of tried to ground it more in realism than something like cartoony, I would say. Like you can't have like the actual pod racing controls be like super realistic, because then nobody would play it. But I'm just saying, like, have the controls be arcadey, but like have the presentation of the game itself. That would be cool if it was rooted in realism. And like if you made a mistake or something, or like the electric tether in between the two engines or something got broken. Something terrible would happen, like you would just explode or lose complete control. Is what I'm trying to get across, is that working out? Like, does this make sense?
I get what you're saying.
Like if you gave me the feeling of playing the pod, the pod racing race in Phantom Menace, like but in a game, and it felt really good, like yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like I don't really have many thoughts.
Yeah, my only other comment is that, like, you mentioned that racing games are kind of niche. I disagree only in the fact that I think that the perception that people have of racing games is like Forza, which is very simulation heavy. I do think there is plenty of room for people to try exciting or arcadey racers. So maybe, hopefully, that's where this ends up going.
You know what game was like one of my favorite racing games of all time that did not get the recognition that it deserved? Split Second.
Yeah, a lot of people love that game.
You remember that? Yeah, that game was awesome. And it was made by Disney.
Yeah, I think it was one of the last games their video game division made.
Yeah.
Was, I think, Split Second. But yeah, that's one
really,
everybody
really
would talk about. I think it had a sequel in development that got canceled.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that was I think that was one of the real last, like, I want to say AA or AAA, somewhere in between there, racing games that was like arcadey, that where they actually tried, and the rest of it's just been simulators or indie attempts.
Yeah.
So I have written here, Out of Words. I don't remember watching a trailer for such a game. Do you?
Out of Words? No.
Out of Words. Yeah, I don't. I guess we don't even know if it really happened. So I just had that written down. After that, we have Phantom Blade Zero, which
it looked cool enough. Not really my style of game, but it looked cool.
Yeah, I got like next to nothing from the story hook, but the combat looks neat. Just an action game. Hopefully, it's less souls and more action. Yeah. It's always the worry with games like this nowadays. All right, we're down to the last big two. First, we have Mega Man Dual Overdrive. Now,
nothing to say about this. I was never a Mega Man fan.
So my whole thing is I like Mega Man. It's like I like Mega Man in the sense that I enjoy its existence, if that makes sense. Like it's, how people talk about things like, let's say you go out to a restaurant or a bar or something, and like you're not on the TV, you see like a baseball game, and it's like, I don't give a shit about baseball, but it's nice that it's on and it's playing, right? Just shows that the world is working in the background while you're just sitting there eating or drinking or whatever, right? That's how I feel about Mega Man. I've played plenty of the games. I think they can be a ton of fun. They're classic. There's good music. I'm not a diehard fan where I kicked and screamed, but I thought it was very nice to see it come back. Its 40th anniversary is next year, and I'm pretty sure this is just them gearing up for that. It's called Dual Overdrive. I'm pretty sure that implies we're going to see multiple playable characters like we have in some of the games before. The last game was Mega Man 11, and I think it was like 7 years ago. It's definitely a brand that Capcom, and I keep saying this, it frustrates me to no end that they kind of neglect Mega Man, because Mega Man, you have Mega Man, Mega Man X, Mega Man Legends, Mega Man Star Force, Mega Man EX. You have all these different Mega Mans. You have at least 4, and you can use the brand in different ways because you have basic platformer, more advanced platformer, a dungeon crawler, you have an RPG mix. You can use this brand so many different ways, and everybody fucking loves it. Like, I'm talking about how I think it's like neat in the background. There are diehard Mega Man fans out there that love it, so it's nice to see it come back, after an absence. And this aligns with what Capcom said, where they've recently said, and I was going to mention this at some point last week, I think, they want to grow Mega Man. They want it to be as big as, or as much of a priority for them as Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, So this is probably just the tip of the spear, and we're going to hear more about Mega Man in the future, but it looks fun. The music looks nice, and we're going to hear more about it in the future. And you have nothing to say on it.
Nope, I have nothing.
Yeah, it's actually funny. It's like, it's kind of like similar to last year where Jeff was like, oh, I have something amazing, and then he showed Okami, and like that off-put people. Like there was this one guy on Twitter who got clowned on it because he's just like, oh, Jeff bothered me last year, when he said this, and then he showed Okami, and then the Okami Twitter showed up and clowned on him a little bit. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. And then Jeff basically did the same thing this year by saying that and introducing another Capcom property with Mega Man. And I'm sure there's plenty of people, especially with all the people waiting for Half-Life 3, I'm sure there are plenty of people miffed that Half-Life 3 doesn't exist, but this new Mega Man does. But no, yeah, definitely interesting. And now, Daniel, we have the last one of the night.
Yeah, I have been waiting very patiently to talk about this one.
You are nothing if not patient.
Go ahead.
Highgaurd.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm commandeering the mic on this one.
Take the lead. I will comment where applicable.
Yeah, please do. In my notes, I wrote down I have thoughts, like angrily. So I feel a lot of different ways about this game, a lot of different emotions. So number one, probably chief among them is, yeah, Titanfall 3 is probably completely fucking dead. Like that game is probably never ever going to see the light of day. If anything, it would be a break glass in case of emergency type of thing.
And it wouldn't be
but
by
even
the
then,
people who
like
made the original
that's
franchise.
Very big long shot. So Highgaurd is they made this game in complete secrecy, which is kind of cool, I guess. It's a free-to-play first-person shooter. It's coming out in like 6 weeks. It's like late January. So if you go onto the Steam page, the way that it describes itself is a raid shooter, right? Or shooter raid, something like that. Like the word raid is in there somewhere. Now, I don't really know what that means. I'm not in love with the way that it looks. It's very cartoony, and I had enough of that with Overwatch. It looks very hero-based, which I do not love that either. I will say that all the animations look clean as fuck. They look so good. But you would expect that from the developers that made Apex and Titanfall. And by the way, they did name drop Apex Legends and Titanfall in the trailer.
Times.
Like, oh, from the devs that brought you
I think they did it
these
twice.
Yeah, I think so too. From the devs that brought you these wildly popular games, like here's another game that aims to push the shooter genre forward. That is the phrasing that they used here. They made Highgaurd to push the shooter genre forward. I don't know what the fuck that means. A lot of the different weapons that I noticed looked extreme. Like it looked like they just designed a different version of the same gun from Titanfall. Like the double take was one of them. Like the very first gun that you saw when he was riding the horse and shooting at something, that looked like a different version of the double take, triple take of the triple take from Titanfall 2. All the animations look very reminiscent of both Apex and Titanfall. Now, did I say it was free to play? I don't remember if I did or not.
Yes, I think you mentioned that.
Okay, so free to play kind of worries me a little bit. Number one, is it free to play because you don't have that much confidence in the product, or is it free to play because you want as many feet and as many asses in seats as possible? And we all know how Concord turned out. Like, I don't have a coherent list of notes here for that, because I just put that I have thoughts for Highgaurd, because I mean, you know, my tenure with the developers that have made these games, right? Like one of my favorite games of all time is Titanfall 2. I don't know, man. I do not have a tremendous amount of confidence after watching this. The setting itself is very strange. Like it's a fantasy world, but everyone has like modern or very futuristic guns. There are these like hero abilities. Now I don't know if it's a hero shooter. I really shouldn't say that out of turn, but all the abilities that we saw from the gameplay trailer, they looked like they were hero abilities. The art style itself was meh at best for me. Like I can get past that if the gameplay is good enough, but still, I don't know. It didn't look great. The best thing about it was watching the animations and how the gunplay works, which I guess is one of the most important things with this type of game.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think that the player base, like the consumers overall, are getting really tired of these hero-based shooters. Like we saw that with well, Overwatch 2 failed for different reasons, but Concord is one of them. I mean, there's no shortage of examples of like hero shooters that like people just get tired of it. They just get tired of it. There's a reason why Battlefield 6 exploded in popularity. And the same thing with the finals, right? Like finals has a cult following at this point, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know. Highgaurd, I'm so nervous for this. I'm so nervous. And like, it's obvious that a group of devs that made both Apex and Titanfall wanted to keep doing something in that vein, but Respawn probably didn't let them, so they just went off and did something on their own. Like, I would have been happy with them making like an off-brand Titanfall, right? Like, don't name it something else. Have the lore very different, but like everything is very similar. I would have been happy with that because, again, like when you look at the animations and the gameplay, it looks extremely reminiscent of Titanfall and Apex. Yeah. But that's just because that's what these developers know how to make. I'm very nervous for this game, and I mean, good thing it's free to play. Like, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna try it.
We'll give it a shot. It doesn't
right, yeah. And the good thing it's free to play, but I don't know what this is supposed to be, and it's clear that they want destructible environments. But when you really like go frame by frame in the footage, and you look at the environments that they are destroying, it is so obvious. Like, oh, this wall here is meant to be destroyed. It's got a completely different texture set than everything else around it. Like, shoot it with a rocket, it'll blow up. And I don't know. It just. I'm nervous, man. I am nervous.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I'll be honest. You've said this quite a bit. I found myself rather whelmed, right?
Yeah.
I think that honestly, that they shouldn't have even said from the makers of Titanfall and Apex. I think that it was actually a detriment to their marketing.
Yeah, because they said that, and then I'm like, wait, is it going to be another game in the Titanfall universe? Like, something along those lines. And then they showed what they showed. I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this?
And that's on top of how Jeff introduced it. Yeah. Because he introduced it in a similar way where he kind of set expectations a little too high. And I'm just like, again, you know me, I say constantly, I like it when people try new things. However, this looks like they played to their strengths in the trailer. There was a lot of sliding and momentum and jumping and stuff like that. I'm not really clued in to what exactly goes on in the game outside of shooting things and moving fast. So
yeah, that was my problem. Like, I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If the game looks like it's fun, the game looks like it's fun, but the whole point is, like, everybody knows how saturated this market is. The trailer did it no favors in standing apart. You mentioned that you really liked the animations. I wasn't wowed by them, but I understand why you would be. It's just something that doesn't stick out to me when I think about the trailer. I think the visuals overall were very, like, bland in a super safe way. Like, it feels like everything... I completely agree. Yeah, like, there was no vibrance to this style, and everything seemed flat, or like not everything needs to be complicated in design, but it looked very simple, and like there wasn't a lot going on. I don't know, like, it didn't look appealing, even though the gameplay I could acknowledge potentially be fun. It almost reminds me, and I'm gonna get to this comparison because a lot of people are making it. I feel similar to the way when I saw the first couple trailers for Concord.
Oh, that's not good.
As far as, like, and I mean the gameplay, not the obnoxious cinematic crap. I mean the gameplay. That being said, people are calling it the next Concord. I think that's overblown. I think people just like to see things fail. It's already not necessarily going to be at that level just because it's free to play, so it has some legs. I will say overall community reception hasn't been all that great. Me and you are kind of dour. You're a little worried. Other people are hating this. Like, people
I'm not a little worried. I'm very worried.
But you know what I mean, is like we have we have this position of like, I'm not sure, this doesn't look good. Other people, like, they hate this already, right? Yeah. And
so I'm on the Steam page right now, and the description of this game is very short. It's as follows: from the creators of Apex Legends and Titanfall comes Highgaurd, a PvP raid shooter where players will ride, fight, and raid as wardens, arcane gunslingers sent to fight for control of a mythical continent. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
That doesn't tell us anything. That's like setting and backdrop kind of stuff. And it's like, I hate sounding the cynical, but you really do need a stronger pull. You need a stronger like presence in a genre this saturated, in an industry this tired, and I don't think they put their best foot forward with this. I also think it was very unfortunate for them to be the last reveal of the night. It really just feels like everything is just working against them, honestly. Like the only saving grace is that the gameplay does look like it excels at what it does. That's really all I can say about it.
I would say that. I mean, the trailer was 2.5 minutes, and it was just playing silently on Steam as I was visiting the store page. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know who they're catering to, you know.
Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. I don't want to be the guy that, you know, everyone's like, oh, Concord 2. I don't think it's going to fail that bad. I don't think it's going to have legs. Like, the only thing, like, maybe it'll have better legs than what I expect Marathon will have, but like, what's that really saying? It's just, it's so we just don't know enough, I guess. But it has very few wins from its showing, and the wins are, it seems to do good at what it does, and it's coming out soon, and it's free to play. So like if this was announced and like it's like, oh, coming out in 6 months, I think it would be dead in the water. But like it's kind of in the public consciousness. I don't know. It's only, there's only so many ways I can say it doesn't look all that great. The only other thing I will say is similar to Tomb Raider and Divinity, there's already a lot of preemptive cultural arguments around it, because of the art style. It's just
if you didn't know any better, this just looks like Overwatch with better gunplay.
It it reminds me of like the style and feel of those Overwatch competitors, Paladins and Battleborn. That's what I'm reminded the most of, as far as look and
if
feel.
If you stripped away all the abilities and shit, and you just had the guns, the gun, like, Anthony, it looks just like Titanfall 2, the way that the weapon handling is, and especially with like the reload animations and everything is like crisp and crunchy and like with purpose. That's all great.
While I'll say that, like, I do think that having attaching the name from the creator, or attaching the tagline from the creators of Titanfall and Apex, while I do think that's a marketing negative, it's very clear that the talent to some degree is still there, because like they're backing that statement up, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't. It looks.
Yeah, I'm worried.
Looks grim.
Fortunately, I only have to wait a month and a half to try it, and it's also free. But like, what is a raid shooter? Like, is it just a game mode where you have attackers and defenders? Like, I don't understand what this is.
The only thing I can think of is maybe it's kind of got like, not quite to the same scale, but what the fuck was that game called where it's like the persistent, constant moving lines of attrition MMO shooter thing? What was that called? Was that PlanetSide? PlanetSide 2. PlanetSide 2. The only thing I can think of is like a smaller scale of that, where it's like people are fighting in these smaller battlegrounds that are part of a line of attrition that pushes forward or back. I don't know.
This is so obvious that looking at the player models of this game, like every person has a different set of abilities. It looks like a fucking hero shooter. I don't like those games. Yeah. At least not anymore. You know, they have overstayed their welcome, in my opinion. I don't know, man. This was a very weird thing to end the show with, and the fact that they threw Titanfall in my face, like, does not make me feel great either.
Not the best angle. Because that's just a thing where it's just like, you're just adding to this kind of like hidden metric that people don't think about. You know, there's a lot of, the industry is just in an interesting place where there's a lot of like exposed nerves that you can bump into. It's like, okay, you're the last reveal, which means there's no Half-Life 3, so you bump into that. Oh, you're from the makers of Titanfall. Sure, you're good at your job, but people are kind of soured on Titanfall and Apex over as that game's been kind of, that series has been raked over the coals for how long. And then it's like, oh, the style's not that great. It's just so many things stacking up in the background and directly in front of your face. I understand, even though I disagree with it, I do understand why people are calling it the next Concord, even though I disagree that it's not going to be that catastrophic of a failure.
I would agree with that. A lot of mistakes with this one.
Yes.
So, anywho, that was the Game Awards, ladies and gents.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I mean, it's you said it was a good year, or a good show, I should say. Yeah. I'm inclined to agree. I do think it was a little bloated. I do love the fact that there seemed to be a lot less bullshit in the downtime. That's something the Game Awards struggled with for years and years and years, and you can go back and watch supercuts of all this thing where it's just there's so much downtime and talking to people who clearly don't give a fuck about video games and having them take up the screen time. Stunningly, getting the Muppets involved year over year was somehow the smartest thing that they've ever done, because if you're going to take up time, it may as well be with the fucking Muppets. The people who are on the stage, they run their mouths for a little bit, but there's clearly a time limit involved. Dare I say that we're learning? I'm not like, I still have my gripes with it, but at the end of the day, you kind of need to remember, and this is something I need to remember, is that, you can say whatever you want about Jeff, you can disagree with Jeff on certain things, you can dislike him as a person, love him as a person, whatever you feel. At the end of the day, what shows up at his show is bound by what the industry produces throughout that year. So there's only so much that he can do in that regard. Like, I've seen people blame him for, like, where's Half-Life 3, Jeff? Because that's like the big one. It's like, if the game's not in development and if Valve doesn't want to show it, what's he gonna fucking do, really? So credit where credit's due, I guess. I didn't hate it. I think it just dragged on, and I think a lot of that just had to do with personal preference, so yeah. A better show. I mean, I don't want to give him credit. You know how I am with that. I hate giving people credit for shit. But it does seem like it was a decent show. Yeah,
it was good. Yeah. A lot of games that we're gonna have to wait a very long time for, though.
Yeah. So to move on from the show proper, there were a few just humorous things and things that sprung off from the show that I want to get to before we move on to whatever other topics we can fit in. Right. Firstly, just a little stuff there. Adi Shankar, that pill of a human, that herb, the guy who has been raping different franchises with Netflix for a while. He was allegedly in the audience dressed as Dante, and people are saying he was expecting to win an award, which he very clearly did not. I can't confirm whether or not that's him sitting in the audience, but it would be very weird if it was just an unrelated guy in a red jacket and white wig. So who knows? Kojima walked out almost immediately after the camera was off of him. Was that confirmed? It looks like him. He's not in any of the shots, and he was very quickly posting pictures of the airplane.
If that's true, what a bitch fucking move.
I'm not gonna say it's absolutely confirmed. It does very much look like it is him. Even if it's not, he's clearly miffed. It is what it is. The drama people are pointing out that he didn't post a picture with Jeff like he normally does, and people are doing the whole, oh my god, did they break up? And I don't know, I thought that was funny. Here's a funny thing. So the Kingdom Come Deliverance guys, or at least their community managers, were like having a little spurg out on Twitter. They're just like, I can't believe we were robbed, this, that, and the other thing. And I just gotta say, like, first of all, you guys just need to shut your mouth. Second of all, I think it's kind of deserved, because I'm not a big Kingdom Come Deliverance guy, but I watched the industry, right? And there was a whole kerfuffle because the first game came out and it was like a big fuck you to the fucking industry at large. They were doing their own thing, telling the proper history. It was by a guy who loves it. It wasn't nonfiction, but it was like he was trying to pay tribute and service to a lot of historical elements, right? And then the second game kind of went off in a way that doesn't seem right for the setting, and like the guy had a total change of heart and he was ripping on the original fans or some of the people that, you know, were on board for certain reasons. Like, I don't want to try and represent everybody, but it was kind of gratifying in a way to see this heel turn kind of get slapped in the face by getting like no fucking awards, even though they spent an entire year trying to cozy up to the industry through changes to their subject matter. So there was that. Now, do you have anything else to say about the awards before I move on to my biggest gripe and the last thing I really have to say?
I don't think so. This year seemed to be more put together than most, I would say. They had a couple of really good reveals, a couple of disappointments, but that's kind of par for the course. And it was a record-setting year for, you know, thanks to Expedition 33.
Yes.
Which was wild to see, like, live, you know, like, that was kind of, it's, I wrote this in my notes too. It's one thing to kind of know unconfirmed that the game was going to win Game of the Year. However, it's another thing entirely to watch it completely sweep every single category that it was in, like, with ease. So that was, as a fan of gaming, it was cool to see that happen live. Like, for one game that was a complete underdog, and that it was the studio's debut game. And, you know, I'm not a fan of the game. It's not really my cup of tea, but I could respect. I could respect the achievement, I guess.
Okay.
That's about it for me.
Cool. So, my last thing, and this kind of branches out to a different conversation, and then we'll go into whatever's left. I have a bone to pick with Capcom.
Oh boy.
This is less about, you know, the typical localization bullshit I've mentioned before, and it's more about their advertising. First, I want to give them a little bit of credit. Mega Man, Requiem, Pragmata, very solid presence this year at the Game Awards, right? Last year, I think they showed off Onimusha, and they also had Okami, which is a massive surprise, and the whole Clover's Studios, or I think it's Clover's now, Clover's Studio. I can't remember. They added an S somewhere. Really cool last year. They've been pretty consistent in showing cool stuff when they have stuff to show at these events, which I like to see because Capcom has been on and off with quality, but they have a lot of franchises, and back in the 90s, they were cranking shit out constantly. So I like to see, it's very nice to see them kind of leading the charge as being like a AAA studio that tries new things occasionally and has a lot to show, right? I like that. Now the bad part. They did this cringe survival training ad right in the middle of the show. Which is just the worst of their marketing, because for some reason at a certain point they decided that the Western audiences just fucking love influencers, man. Love them more than the games themselves. Like I mentioned that Pragmata, one of the things that frustrated me about it is because it's like, yeah, sure, you could go and find out things, but if you wanted on the ground immediate information, like breaking news, you were basically reliant on either finding obscure Chinese streams or waiting for one of the streamers they let in behind closed doors talk about it. And the first thing you would normally see isn't the game or them talking about the game, but them on a show floor talking about how they felt about the game. And it's just dog shit. And they've been doing this whole thing for, like, I want to say like the last 5 years. It's been stupid. It's been bullshit. I hate it. And before that, they had other worse things, but it's whatever. Now, the flip side is Resident Evil is coming up on a big anniversary event. Forget which milestone exactly. What the hell is it? It was the 30th anniversary is next year, I believe. Okay. And it's like, oh, perfect. Everybody loves Resident Evil. You know, everybody has at least one era of Resident Evil they like. And they've been celebrating this exclusively by trotting out the actress from Resident Evil 8 that played the large vampire woman, Lady D. Demetresque, I think it's pronounced. Yeah, everybody just calls her Lady D because it's obviously easier. But
the big woman?
Yes, the big woman. They've trotted her out at every event. She's just sitting there talking about Resident Evil. Not even the old games or the history, just like the latest game and a little bit about the new game that's coming out. And that's like their marketing going at like nothing about Resident Evil 1, nothing about Resident Evil 2 or 3. You know, 2 would be the one to talk about because we're going back to Raccoon City. And not even talking about the remakes all that much, just talking nonstop about just Resident Evil as a whole and like Village and like whatever's going forward. And even when they do talk a bit more about stuff like that's more recent, like, oh, Resident Evil 4, it was a new game at some point and now it's on sale, go play it. They keep trotting this woman out and I'm like, that's annoying. There's more to Resident Evil than just Resident Evil Village and 7. Like, come on. But now this ad comes along. It's like it's the survival training ad, and it's just this woman who is so full of herself. Like, here's the thing, she played that character well, but that character's like 1/5 of the story. She barely has any presence, but they keep trying her out because people obviously like the whole vampire woman. They like her a lot, and power to them if you do. But that's not like the mascot of the franchise now. We can't just keep doing this. And she's talking to these 3 guys who are just obnoxious streamers. And I say obnoxious, you know, I don't want to be that guy where it's just like, oh, you just hate all streamers. One of them is a survival horror apologist that has only had like maybe 2 good takes in the last 10 years. One is like the super fighting game hype man that will always carry the water for the company during the lead up, very rarely has any critiques about them, and when he does, it happens as soon as it's safe to have it or when the repercussions of his own actions hit. And then the 3rd guy, I was fucking stunned he was there. He's just some speedrunner, and he's just, from what I can tell, he's just a bit of an asshole from what stream archives I've seen. So I'm just like, I don't like any of these people. You didn't tell me anything about the games. You didn't show me anything new. That you have all these events coming up where you're trying to build up Mega Man again. You're trying to, you know, you got the Resident Evil anniversary coming up, and you're just sitting there trotting these insufferable people in front of me. Honestly, as much as, you know, I glazed over other trailers during the show, as much as, you know, I had some things where I'm just like, I don't care about this, that presence, this fucking survival training ad, was the worst part of the show for me. It just annoyed me. It took up time. It showed me nothing. And it's just insufferable people talking to me for like 5 minutes. It felt like 10 minutes. It couldn't have been longer than 3 minutes, but it felt like 10 minutes. It was just insufferable people who...
I just tuned out.
Yeah,
it was just dumb.
And it triple pisses me off because like these people are in ways directly responsible for ruining or like fostering a community that is like okay with things that makes your franchises worse. Like, you know, fighting games went through a bit of a time where they do bad practices or go very free to play or like have people forgive, you know, things that people should be more critical of. And it's because this one guy sitting in the back and it's like, oh, Resident Evil 4 was a remake that didn't really need to happen. And sure, the gameplay was fun and sure, you know, it had some redeeming qualities, but ultimately it did nothing for the story. It didn't add anything. It has one of the worst voice performances in the entire franchise. And really, it would have been better served if we just got a new game in that style instead of remaking a game that didn't need to be remade. And the guy off to the left, very much apologist for this because, you know, I guess the game's, you know, you can't look at anything beyond just like, oh, the game plays okay and like it looks nice, you know? It's like I don't know. It's maybe I'm nitpicking, but it stuck out to me. It pissed me off, especially with all of my critiques about Capcom as a whole. Like, just you stop with the streamer shit. You are one of the few companies doing really well when it comes to like output, I would say, because you have your core franchises. Every now and again you try something new. You had Kunitsugami, you have Pragmata coming out. You know, say what you will about the dinosaur game, which I've shockingly forgotten the name of. Do you remember what it was called?
No.
The dinosaur game. Wow, I can't believe it. I thought it was fun. It was like the you play as like these exosuits. And honestly, I'm surprised. Exoprimal, that's what it's called. Exoprimal. You know,
right.
Say what you will. I thought it was fun. It's a shame.
Yeah, it was a fun little game.
Yeah, it was fun. It didn't succeed the way they wanted
it
to.
Though. Nobody asked for it.
Exactly.
Like,
that's
one of the problems. Justify the extended development costs, so they just shut it down.
Yeah, but the point is they tried it, you know? I love that. Yeah. I love the fact that this company is juggling multiple AAA companies and multiple AAA franchises and trying new things on the side. I like that. And I hate the fact that they're wasting time, money, and resources on these insignificant people just to try and attract a fraction of their audiences, when what really happens more often than not is, sure, you move some units from those people's audiences, but you just get more vocal, annoying people with bad opinions talking about the games, not even playing them, because they're watching these assholes play the games. They're not buying them. So I don't know. I have a lot of gripes about Capcom. You know, I've mentioned localization. I don't like what they did with Dead Rising. I'm worried about the new Dead Rising. I have a lot of issues with some of the remakes they did, but as a company as a whole, they trend better than other companies making similar or worse decisions. And it's just frustrating that this is just a whole thing that they just do not need to do. Cut these people loose. They're going to play your games one way or the other. You don't need to cozy up to them. They're going to suck up to you any way they can, regardless. Like one of the guys in there, or I think two of them really, because what the speedrunner, he was just kind of in the background. I don't know how much of a corporate cocksucker he is, but the other two, you know, they didn't just, you know, get recruited and become Capcom yes men. They've been following the franchises. Well, one of them was following like all the Capcom franchises for like the last 14 years and cozied himself up. The other one, I think, was a porn star before being a streamer.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's the
Not
kind of
shocked.
people that but yeah, I cut these people loose. I'm tired. Just show the games. You have one of the best and most robust catalogs. I'm not even gonna go on a whole diatribe about like how you've been treating each. I'm not gonna do that here on this podcast here, but you have quite the back catalog. You have you have more momentum than you deserve. You have an IP filled with games and franchises that you can just do. You don't need these people. Stop. Stop.
Sound like a parent disciplining his child.
It's just ridiculous. I've said to you before, I'm not like a blind Capcom fan. I happen to be fans of a lot of the franchises they have under the belt. The company has never been in a position where I could just gleefully say, yeah, I'm a Capcom fan. I'll say it offhand, you know, because it's quicker than saying, no, I'm a Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, Dead Rising, blah, 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 blah fan. But like any company in the industry, I just want companies to do well by their customers and just make good games. And I think Capcom has a potential just from the quantity and the things that they do in the background. I think they could be a strong player, which is hysterical because years ago they were worried about their performance on a global stage. They are arguably one of the strongest companies in the industry. Say what you will about, you know, the results, but they are one of the strongest players in the industry, I think, just in general. And it's a shame to see them waste so much time, you know. You had 3 amazing showings at the Game Awards, and then you wasted my fucking time with this mockery, you know. So, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, God, that was an Anthony rant.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is the Game Awards was all right.
It was not terrible.
Yeah, so we managed to go way over what I anticipated us going over. I don't know if you have anything else to add or anything else to say that you can fit in.
No, not really. I mean, most of my news was kind of related to the Game Awards anyway. Nothing too crazy has come out in my neck of the woods. I'm scrolling back right now. Everything else that we have posted is a bunch of nothingness. CD Projekt Red released another Cyberpunk trailer for reasons. I mean, the game is 5 years old, and they're like, "Hey, happy 5-year anniversary! Here's a trailer. Buy our game. Here's nothing new." I can't stand that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm not spending any more time on that. Splitgate Arena is coming back on December 17th. I don't know if I've brought that up yet.
We talked about that near the beginning,
okay.
I think. Or last week, I can't remember.
I am cautiously optimistic. Only in a couple days. So, but beyond that, no, I really got nothing else of note to talk about. Like I said, most of my news came from the Game Awards. Call of Duty finally admitted that they suck.
Oh yeah, we may as well talk about that. Yeah, they said like, "Oh, guys, we're never going to do back-to-back releases again." And
they're still going to continue to make Modern Warfare and Black Ops till the fucking heat death of the universe, but they won't release them 2 years in a row.
Yeah, they realized all the billions in revenue and like the slave labor that is like 10 studios that's not even enough to do back-to-back sequels year over year. You just don't have it, especially when all of your labor is crap and whatnot. But I do find it funny that it's just like they could have gotten away with it if they just went with that premium expansion strategy instead of whatever the fuck they tried. But you can't slow the train down, I guess. You can't settle for $30 expansions
God, Black Ops 7 was such a steaming pile of shit.
And that was
So bad. But that's all I got.
that's everything else. Everything I have to say, we'll have to just wait till next week.
All right. Well, if you've made it this far, then thank you. This was episode 84 of the Pregame Network podcast, and we will be back once again next week to talk about or gripe about more shit. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you for listening, and we will catch everyone next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.